remembers what we called these two people? Raise your hand if you remember. Go ahead, Nikita. Who are these people? Nikita?
Pilgrim.
Excellent. It's the Pilgrims. And remember we talked about how the Pilgrims lived across the ocean in a place called England. And the Pilgrims weren't very happy because the king said, you need to go to my church, right? Did the Pilgrims want to go to the king's church? No, they didn't. Hudson, what did the king say? He said, you have to go to my church or what's going to happen?
Okay.
I'm going to put you where?
Cage.
In a jail, in a cage in jail, right? So the Pilgrims didn't want to go to the king's church and they didn't want to go to jail. So instead they decided we need to go to find a new place to live. So they got on a big ship. Raise your hand if you remember the name of the ship. Madeline, do you remember the name of the ship? Say it again, you got it. The Mayflower, wonderful, yes. They got on the Mayflower and they sailed across the ocean until they found a new place to live. When they found land, they spied land. And what was there when they got to the New World? Were there any houses?
No.
No, there were no houses. Were there any trees? There were lots and lots of what? What did they find there?
Tree.
Trees, lots of trees. Were there any people? Did they find any people?
No.
No, they didn't spy any people yet. So they decided we need to build a place to live, right? Because the winter is coming and we need to be safe. So that's what they did. They started cutting down trees and making a great big house for all of the Pilgrims to live in. So that's where our story stopped. There's more to the story, but this week we are celebrating and talking about Pilgrims and how thankful the Pilgrims were to be able to find a new place to live. So George was very curious, and let's see what he wants us to find out about today. Ready? Curious George has a big... It's time for us to use our eyes. Untie, untie, and open
Wide.
and see a big...
Surprise.
Come on up, Bryn. See what George is curious about today. It is a book. What do you see on the front of the book? You don't know? It's a little boy, but he's dressed kind of differently than Hudson and Chase, right? Yeah. This is a pilgrim boy. And our story today is about a little pilgrim boy named Samuel. And it's going to tell us all about what happens every day in Samuel's life, the life of a pilgrim. So George is very curious about the Pilgrims this week. And we're going to learn more about them a little bit later on, right? Thank you. You can go back to your spot.
I'm next to you.
You are next to me. All right, it's time for us to take a look in our mission room to see what centers we have. And I'm going to tell you that we're going to learn more about the Pilgrims from our missions, from our stations today in the mission room, okay?